Hey y'all, this is Alex from the Rim Review. The Rim Review is a page that offers in-depth player analysis and gives nuance to the way you view basketball. In this series, we're going to be looking over every single prospect in the upcoming draft class. In today's episode, we're going to cover a very intriguing prospect in Zaccharie Risacher. Now let's start out and explore Risacher's offensive strengths. The first of which is his shooting, where Risacher shoots 39.7% from beyond the arc. This is a very impressive number when you consider the fact that he's playing in a professional league where he's shooting from the FIBA three-point line. So some of the shooters that may have better three-point percentages are shooting from a college line, which is actually not as deep as the FIBA line. So that's good to see as FIBA is closer to the NBA. Next is his transition offense, where Risacher shows the ability and shows flashes of being able to go coast to coast, where he averages 1.15 points per possession. Next is his cutting. Risacher is a very intelligent player off the ball and showcases a lot of good movements and backdoor cuts, which is why he averages 1.295 points per possession. And finally, his size and wingspan make him a very intriguing prospect. While he's still raw and has a lot of things that he has to grow with, the potential to put on weight and maybe develop a handle at his size is very exciting. This is a big reason why scouts view him as such an interesting prospect. While Risacher is extremely talented, there are some major weaknesses to his game offensively. The first of which is he really struggles attacking closeouts. On spot-up opportunities, Risacher only shot 27.5% on two-pointers. This is very concerning because it lets scouts know that he's going to struggle to blow by guys or really just make good decisions when people are running at him. Next, he was rarely ever used as a screener, and there were actually 2 possessions on the entire season where the final outcome resulted from him setting a screen. That's really concerning because he doesn't set physical screens, and I think there are going to be a lot of teams that want to develop him into a potential pick and pop threat. However, that's not part of his game. Finally, he really struggles to protect the basketball and only has a .62 assist to turnover ratio. All of these numbers are extremely concerning and are going to raise red flags for scouts. Now let's get into the film and watch Risacher in transition. On this possession, Risacher gets the rebound and showcases a nice handle as he's able to push the ball and have a nice dunk. While there's nothing flashy about that play, it's good to see him put the ball on the floor, and it lets scouts know that there are flashes of him creating something. On this possession, I love seeing the behind the back dribble. However, he does have the opportunity to maybe make a kick, but I actually think his read is the better one, and I like him looking for himself to score. What he does a really good job of in transition is playmaking in trail situations. Right here, he's going to trail, rip through, and have a nice finish. Really good stuff. His shooting also makes him a very intriguing prospect in transition because he's able to do things like this. Look how smooth that looks, just really good stuff. Another thing he does well in transition is sprinting to corner off the ball. As you see right here, he runs to the corner, which is why he's able to get an open 3. Unfortunately, Risacher does struggle from having really soft finishes at times, and as you see right here, he just never gets it set. I'd like to see him jump off of 2 feet. If he jumped off of 2 feet, he'd be able to absorb the contact more. However, he only jumps off 1 foot and takes a bad shot. On this possession, more of the same occurs as Risacher really struggles to deal with finishing through contact. Right here, he goes to the rim, and instead of using his size and getting under control, he tries an awkward extended finish that just isn't a great look. I wouldn't have minded if he held it up there and didn't force it, but if you're gonna force it, be willing to take the contact. Now let's move on and watch Risacher do something which he does very well, which is come off screens for 3s. Right here, he comes off this down screen, curls and pitches the ball back, and then really just an amazing play as he then comes off this other screen and has a nice smooth shot. I actually think this is a really great ATO. Let's draw it up right here. So the first screen is right here. He comes up and hands the ball off with like a pitch situation. and then he comes off this guy setting a rescreen. Let's just watch this again. This is a reflection of his ability to shoot off movement, but also just really awesome coaching. I love this play. It's simple, but something you're going to see a lot. Another way that he's able to score on the occasions where he does try to get to the rim is on straight line drives. Right here, he's going to come off a screen and then rip through and just have a nice straight line drive finish. While it looks really simple, it's good seeing him put the ball on the floor and use his length to get by his man. We see the exact same thing on this possession. He comes off of a down screen and play makes. There's nothing special, he doesn't create a ton of separation, but I love the reverse finish. Let's watch some more of Zaccharie Risacher in the half court. On this possession, Risacher is in the corner and is ready to move and is engaged. As the drive occurs, Risacher moves up and has a nice quick release. There's nothing uniquely special about this, but this is the type of role he's going to play in the NBA. He's going to be a 3 that's going to be able to space the floor and have a nice quick release. A player comp that I honestly think is perfect for him is Michael Porter Jr. Right here, he catches the ball off the screen. And as you can see, when the screen occurs right here, this defender has to come over and tag this man. And as soon as that happens, Risacher is calling for the ball, he's engaged, takes a step out, and has a nice quick release. Once again, nothing flashy, nothing super exciting about this, but it's just simple, and sometimes simple's enough. Right here, I don't love how he's being a little passive with his closeout opportunity, especially because he probably has 2 or 3 inches on his man, but he gives the ball up, and then he's relocating to the corner. And then, as you see, look how he just kind of slowly drifts to the corner over here without this man knowing. This man thinks that he's still around this area by the time this drive occurs. And so he thinks he can stunt and then go back here. But Risacher has already moved to the corner, and there's no way for him to go. And Risacher gets a nice 3. Really good stuff and just smart basketball. On this possession, Risacher is continuously relocating to get himself in the line of sight of the ball. Right here, he's open, but there's no way that this guy can make a pass over all these guys here. So he moves and has a nice quick release. While the shot doesn't fall, it's showcasing once again a high basketball IQ from Zaccharie. When it comes to attacking closeouts, Zaccharie Risacher leaves a little bit to be desired. However, he does have a really nice step back 3, and he does a decent job kind of using these closeouts to look for more 3s. Okay. As you see on this possession, Risacher gets the ball, takes a jab in, and shoots the 3. I honestly think that this is a decent look. However, when the guy flying by, I would like to see Risacher be a little more comfortable and look to blow by. He's a little overly reliant on the side step 3, but when you shoot it as well as he does, it's not a bad look. Right here, he continuously moves back, pump fakes, and then this is a really nice 3. Smart decision, good pump fake. Just really solid shot. Right here, Risacher, look at how he's just kind of continuously moving off the ball, pump fake, side step 3, and just a tough bucket. These types of moves are really successful for him, and he has got them down, and this is a reflection of his work ethic and the types of shots he can make. I also think his length allows him to make some of these tougher shots. Another thing that he sometimes will do is he does settle for a lot of mid-ranges, and sometimes it looks good when he does it. For example, you look at this possession, pump fake, gets into his man, and has a nice, smooth mid-range. Unfortunately, when it comes to him attacking closeouts, he really prefers to be on the perimeter, and when he tries to get downhill, there's no separation. You look right here, he's just not getting by his man, and he takes a tough fadeaway. When he catches the ball right here, you would ideally want him to be able to rip through this man and get to the rim, or have some type of bag to allow something to happen. He just doesn't have that explosive level of athleticism, and it forces him to take an awkward shot. We're going to see something very similar on this next possession, and this is a big reason why I'm not sure why he's being considered as high as he is on mocks. You look right here, he catches the ball and tries to go by, but his handle's awkward, and he settles for what I think is a tough mid-range. He was able to get maybe a little open at the end, but once again, that's not the shot you want in closeout situations. Right here, he tries again, and the handle just isn't there. As soon as the defender gets into him, awkward behind the back, and a turnover. When looking at Risacher in isolation, it's more of the same story. He's very dominant in the perimeter, and he's able to use his moves to have nice isolation threes. However, outside of that, there's not much going on. As you see on this possession, it's just a really nice step back three. He's very comfortable with that shot, and his length allows him to let it fly. These are the type of highlights that I'm sure you're going to see come draft night. He gets the ball here, faces up with his man, and gets into his shot. This is what he loves. Unfortunately, the lack of physicality is a big problem for him. Right here, his team is going to run something called Spain pick and roll, which is when this screen occurs right here, and Risacher then sets this back pick. Risacher is going to pop and now have an ability to drive in isolation. However, as soon as this bump occurs, he loses the ball. Look right here, contact, turnover. Contact is not Risacher's thing, and that's going to be a major concern in the NBA when he has to go up against even more grown men. Right here, he tries to post up, which I like the instincts. However, the handle's loose, and he just turns it over. Another issue that he has is when he's able to actually get to the rim, he has soft finishes. As we're going to see in this possession, he gets the ball and goes downhill, yet his touch is not fully there. He's thrown off balance by this little bit of contact, and that's what you hate to see. For somebody that tall with a really good wingspan, you'd like them to have a little bit more touch around the rim. On this possession again, you're going to see him be in an isolation spot, rip through, and he actually tries to finish off of 2 feet, which I like, but it's just an awkward angle and it's tough. Finally, let's end and watch Risacher's cutting, which he does at an extremely high level. Right here, he's in the corner, and he's going to be very alert. And once again, he sees this man right here come to pick up this guy, which lets him know that he has an opportunity to cut from the corner, and he just floats to space for a nice dunk. Really smart basketball. On this next possession, he's going to have a slash cut from the wing, and he waits to a decent time, gets downhill. However, the finish was a little soft, but it goes in, and that's really all that matters. Zaccharie Risacher has a variety of major defensive strengths. The first of which is his off-ball awareness, which is elite, and that's a big reason why he has 51 steals on the season. Next is his driving line defense, which is also at a very high level. He shows flashes of really good footwork, and when you combine that with long arms and just a big frame, it's very exciting. Next, he has really good off-ball screen navigation. This is partially because of his off-ball awareness, and that's a big reason why on off-screen possessions, opponents only score 0.61 points per possession against him. Finally, his length allows him to be a really solid help side rim protector, where he had 25 blocks last season. There are still a couple weaknesses to Risacher's game on the defensive end. The first of which is his physicality. Risacher simply needs to put on more weight, and when he has to go up against bigger and stronger guys, they're just able to outmuscle him. Finally, he does have a tendency to sometimes overcommit to help, and so sometimes he'll be in a position, for example, he'll be in the MIG for just a half a second or a second too late. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, and I like that he's aware off ball. However, I would like him to be able to have just a little quicker reaction time. Now let's watch Risacher on the defensive end. On this possession, Risacher showcases his talents in transition rim protection scenarios. This is more of a highlight play, however, does a good job setting the tone for his defense. Look at that athleticism, he's able to get up and just send that shit out of here. Really good to see. On this next possession, we're going to see some help side rim protections from Risacher, and these are the types of things that you love to see, especially if you have him as a 3 in the NBA. He showcases really good instincts, is able to talk and tell this guy to pick up this man so he can come protect the rim, and it's a really good block. I also think some teams might consider playing him at the 4. However, in my opinion, he's much more of a 3. On this possession, let's watch his driving line defense. He's engaged guarding a guard, is fighting. I love to see it. When the guard relocates, once again, very aggressive, going for steals. He stays in front of him, and then look how even though he might lose half a step, his length makes up for that more than some. Right here, he guards the guard as well, navigates through this horn set, picks up again, and he always has a good defensive stance. And you look right here, he gets his chest into his man, and it leads to a steal. Just really good effort in sliding his feet. Right here, he's going to make a switch. He's in help side, now he's back, and just good driving line defense. And look how he's able to play without fouling, keeping his hands up. Just great stuff.
Lucas.
Let's watch some more driving line defense, because obviously driving line defense is the best way to determine how good a defender is. You're going to look at him here. He picks the ball up on the wing and just active hands and contests without fouling. Really great stuff. On this possession, let's watch Risacher in the MIG position. For those of you who don't know, MIG stands for most important guy. Right here, this is Zaccharie Risacher. This screen is occurring, and the guard is got to get back to his man. However, he needs this guy to help. Because of this, Risacher has to come right here so he can pick up this guy who is rolling to the basket. It is ideally this man's responsibility to quickly hit number 72 just to slow him up. However, because his guy is one pass away, he still needs to be focused here and here. And because of the direction that's rolling and because this guy is closer, this guy also has to be focused here. So all of the pressure of the pick and roll is Risacher's responsibility. And right here, he does an excellent job playing cat and mouse. He initially takes a step in, waits for this guy to come back, and then just has active hands and has an eye on the ball and realizes this guy's trying to make a skip pass, and his length allows him to get this steal. Let's watch this at full speed just to get an appreciation of what he did here. It's really smart basketball, and you really realize how beneficial his length can be. On this possession, we're going to see something very similar, where he once again is the most important guy. The screen occurs right here. Zaccharie Risacher comes in, and then immediately goes back, and then he showcases that he needs to go get the ball, and he gets a nice steal. Now let's move on and watch him in pick and roll situations. Right here, this screen is occurring. He does a good job navigating through it. And then she once again showcases solid driving line defense. On this possession, he's actually going to switch, which is interesting. And he showcases really good fight against number 19. He definitely gets away with a pretty big foul there, but I like seeing him compete. Unfortunately, when he's in the post, it typically results more like this, where he just gets completely buried and taken out of the play. He's picking up his man right here, and then look where his man catches the ball. I don't think this is necessarily from a lack of effort. I think it's more a lack of muscle from Risacher. Now let's watch him off ball, where he does a really good job navigating through screens. On this possession, he fights through this screen, and wow, that length is elite. While he's a bit late in recognizing his man cutting because he is ball watching, he's smart and is able to fight through these screens and make a play. We're once again going to see more off-ball screen navigation on this possession, which is really good. He once again is a bit late from getting to his man. However, he fights through, and wow, look at that length, and I do think he's a very high-effort player. Overall, I think Risacher is a pretty intriguing prospect. At his height, being a 3-and-D kind of wing is very exciting in the NBA. However, I'm not necessarily sure why certain mock drafts such as ESPN have him as high as the first overall pick. I think he showcases a really lack of ability to create for himself in isolation. His fear of dealing with contact is also a major concern for me. And I also would like him to put on some more weight before he could be as successful in the next level. I think, in my opinion, I actually have him lower than almost all mocks, and I think he could potentially even fall out of the top 5. I would much rather go with a player like a Matas Buzelis, who's 6'11, also showcases shooting abilities, and can put the ball on the floor. While he might not be as good as a shooter as Risacher, and is also probably not as good as a defender, at 6'11 and having the ability to put the ball on the floor, that's a lot more intriguing to me. I think Risacher's most likely outcome in the NBA is being one of the 100 really solid 3-and-D wings that are in the league. That's something that's really good to see, and that's somebody that's always going to get paid and is always going to start. I think that's a really high kind of likely outcome. Maybe his ceiling is he's able to put on a little bit more weight and deal with contact. I don't think he'll ever be able to develop an elite bag or handle, but I think if he's able to deal with contact better, he'll be able to be more efficient in attacking closeouts. Maybe if that happens, he could become a third or fourth option on a championship caliber team, but I'd say that is much more of his ceiling. I think his floor is if the shooting maybe dips a little bit and he struggles with NBA physicality, and I think that could make him not as good as a defender, and that could be concerning.
Lucas.
If that were to occur, I think he would be more of a bench player that comes off and maybe is a seventh man on your rotation as a good shooter. I think he has a relatively long career. I would be surprised if he's not in the NBA 6 or 7 years from now. But I also don't necessarily think he's worthy of the number 1 overall pick, and I think that there are, in my opinion, at least 4 other guys better than him. But yeah, that's my take, and I appreciate you for watching another episode of The Rim Review.